services. We did it last Thursday. Last year, the Sheriff's Department, myself, two of my resident deputies, and several citizens, we picked up a little over 11 tons just ourselves. And that was kind of late toward the end of the year when we finally had the agreement with Republic to allow us to dump at the transfer station for free. And we focus more on large items, cat mattresses, couches, refrigerators, that type of stuff. I was fortunate enough, I approached some of our local vendors over on the Martinez side, Hertz, Sun State Rental, and those folks. They've agreed as part of their donation to the cause is to allow us the use of dump trailers to help us pick that up. Because anybody who loads this stuff on a flatbed, you move it twice. You load it, and you unload it by hand. At least the dump trailer, you get to dump it, and it's less than a minute to get it dumped. So we've been able to be successful. We did it last Thursday. We did it because I wanted my community to look good for Easter, and it was looking pretty shabby. So we went out and picked up 3 tons. And that 3 tons, if John Q. Public, and this is part of the problem with the reason is the dump fees, in my area at least, it's a very low income area, they can't afford it. Can't afford it. A mattress and a set of box springs is $60 to dump it. Yeah. And so they don't have it. They're trying to keep the lights on and the mortgage paid. So they're going to dump it on the shoulder of the road, somewhere in Bay Point. Most of my dumping is probably residential. Would you agree, Joe? It's residential dumping. Not a lot of contract stuff. We do get it, but the majority of our stuff in Bay Point is all residential. That day we picked up a little over 20 mattresses, box springs, I think 15 couches, 4 refrigerators, countless tires, and shopping carts. And I'm not as nice as Antioch because if that shopping cart's there and the owner isn't there, it's abandoned property. We take it. And I don't go to Safeway and ask if they want their shopping cart back. It goes in the dump. I don't care who it belongs to. And I'll address something a little bit later on that too. So we as a community, and we found that going out there and doing this, and I try to do it on a weekend when most of our residents are home, the first time we did it, the residents came out and they started applauding us. Eventually, we were there long enough because there was enough trash. They started bringing us water and asking us, do we need snacks? Before we got through with one neighborhood, the residents were out helping us load it up and couldn't thank us enough. That neighborhood right now, actually there's several neighborhoods that we really hit hard. They'll call now. They realize we take pride in that community, so should they. They will actually call us now. Hurry, hurry, they're dumping right now. So if we can change the mind frame of those residents to start calling us, or to go out, I don't say confront, but to go out and write down license plate numbers, take a cell phone photo, we've got what we need now for the enforcement side. Because as we all know, again, we can't stop it, all law enforcement here, we can't stop that illegal dumping. It's just happenstance if we catch them dumping, unless we set up a sting of some sort or whatnot. In my community as well, our MAC does 2 community cleanups a year. Basically, the Republic and I think Pittsburgh Disposal, they offset it, brings out the dumpsters, it's community cleanup, and we take advantage of it too. We go around, pick up stuff, and dump in there as well as the Sheriff's Department. One thing we do in our community, we really strongly push and encourage Adopt a Road. I think we've got 10 or 12 Adopt a Road groups in Bay Point. I don't know the exact number, but without those groups out there, we'd be underwater, no questions, we'd be underwater. Those folks come out, they really do a fantastic job. And it's nice because Public Works is very good about coming out as soon as those bags hit the shoulder, before our homeless can go through and look for recyclables and tear them open and re-litter. Public Works is out there picking them up for us, so that's really very helpful in our community. Part of our problem is 1/3 of our residents out there have no garbage service, and that's an ongoing problem for us. A lot of the homes may be vacant on that 1/3 list, I don't know, but we have a every other month code enforcement meeting in Bay Point at Federal Glover's office, and we get a lot of work done there. I think Joe can attest to that. We get a lot of problems solved there. Most of the majority of the departments are there, Public Works, Environmental Health, you name it, we're all there. The garbage services are both there as well. In Bay Point, I have 2 garbage services. That's kind of unique, because half of it, I always have to ask, where do you live, or if there's a complaint, because we need to know who's in charge of that general area. So it's kind of a unique situation for us. One thing I can tell you, and I think most of us in this room can attest, the cameras don't work. we've had issues where, and Joe and I talk about it all the time, we'll have cameras up there. We've tried those that speak, you know, caution, caution. We've had those up there. We've put signs up, and they look to where they're going to dump. And so they dump on the other side of the camera, or the other, no, I mean, I think they're like thumbing it to us. They'll dump on the other side of the no dumping sign, as you saw earlier. So I'm fortunate that most in this room with Keller Canyon in my backyard, I've got access to the Keller Canyon mitigation funds, as many of the departments in here as well from the county do. I've secured a blight fund, and my intent is to buy cameras that are hopefully solar and infrared. And instead of putting them in where they dump, I'm going to put them on the roads where they drive into dump. Because when they dump, they look around for the cameras, but I don't think they'll be wise enough to look for the streets they drive down in order to dump. And so if we can catch a license plate, we're ahead of the game on that. Because if I can see you on the camera, you got a license plate, you got a load in the back, and you drive out and there's no load, then I'm going to come look for you. Another issue that we have, as I mentioned earlier, is the shopping cart. We've got a ton of homeless in our area, and there's shopping carts everywhere. And unless you're standing next to your shopping cart with your belongings, in my opinion, it's abandoned property, and we're going to take it. When I first started this program last year, we started filling out the companies, and I hate to say it, but they could care less about that shopping cart that left their property. They'll buy a new one, it's cheaper. Having thought about that, I've got some young grandkids. I don't think I want my granddaughter sitting in that shopping cart that Johnny Homeless just urinated, defecated, et cetera, et cetera. And because, you know, Safeway is not desanitizing it, they're putting it right with the rest of it. So we dump them. And I'm exploring right now, other municipalities and other counties have a shopping cart ordinance that requires businesses over a certain size, et cetera, to either one, have an employee drive a certain radius around their business to pick up the shopping carts, or pay a company. And I think we used to have several companies out here, but I no longer see them, at least not in the Bay Point area, picking up our shopping carts. Short of that, again, I could show you 1,000 pictures of garbage, but we've all seen it. Part of our problem, and hopefully the DA, she'll address it, you know, just in the penal code. The first offense for littering is $250 to $1,000. The second is $500 to $1,500, and the third is $750 to $3,000. Well, if this is my first offense, it's cheaper for me to dump it on that shoulder than it is for me to go to the dump, depending on what I'm trying to dump. And our residents, and Joe can attest, they collected on their private property for a while. So if they're going to dump it, they're going to dump a huge amount. So again, if they're going to save it, the fines aren't solving our problem. The ordinance, the county hauling ordinance too, has a few glitches that aggravates me. Is if they're hauling, the ordinance doesn't give us the authority to tow their vehicle if they're caught without that permit. We need to be able to tow because it's not going to stop them. If the fine's only a small amount, it costs several $1,000s to come in conformity to the ordinance to get that permit, I'll roll the dice. If I get caught 2 or 3 times, I'm still financially ahead of that game. And so we need some authority to tow these vehicles, take those means away. And as Captain Vanderlyn said, you know, we'll get creative. We'll figure out a way to tow your vehicle if we can. But it's those folks that we can't get to the car or can't find a violation to tow the vehicle. And now we're stuck. We give them a citation on the shoulder, you know, they go home, they go to court, they pay $250, they still got ahead of what it would have cost to go to the dump. So, and trust me, I'm desperate. I mean, if anybody here's got any better ideas at work, please come see me after this, because we're drowning in litter just as the rest of you guys are in Big Point. Is there anything, let me just make sure I covered everything I want to discuss. Yes? Is there any questions? Thank you.